Newton kept a furnace burning in his room for 6 straight years. Not a fireplace, a furnace. The kind you build when you're trying to reach temperatures a normal fire can't touch. His neighbors thought he'd lost his mind. His assistants said he almost never slept. Sometimes he'd forget to eat for days, then remember, walk to the table, stand there eating, without sitting down, and go straight back. Back to what? Nobody knew. He didn't tell anyone, not his colleagues, not his closest friends, not the institution that would later build its entire reputation on his name. Whatever was happening in that room, he took it to his grave. Or he tried to. 200 years after Newton died, an economist named John Maynard Keynes bought a trunk of his private papers at auction. He expected mathematics, drafts, the working notes of the greatest scientific mind in history. What he found was something else. 169 documents on alchemy. Detailed, obsessive. More pages than Newton ever wrote on gravity, motion, and calculus combined. Newton had been running experiments, the same way he tracked the orbit of planets, recording temperatures, colors, durations, textures, smells. He was tracking what happened inside that furnace, night after night, year after year. He was looking for something specific. He called it the vegetative spirit. He believed it was hidden inside matter itself, an invisible force that made things attract each other, organize, come alive. Not a metaphor, he thought it was real. Something you could isolate, if you were precise enough and patient enough, and willing to keep the furnace burning long enough. He handled mercury with his bare hands, lead, arsenic, for years. When scientists tested a strand of his hair in the 1970s, they found mercury at 40 times the normal level. He knew these materials were dangerous. He didn't stop. Here's the part that changes everything. Newton didn't think alchemy and physics were different subjects. The same notebooks, the same handwriting, the same man, on the same pages, writing about the motion of planets and the color of molten metal at 2 in the morning, moving between them like they were chapters of one book. Because to him, they were. The invisible force he was hunting in the furnace, the thing that attracts, organizes, pulls matter toward itself, is the same force he described mathematically in the Principia, gravity in the physics, the vegetative spirit in the alchemy. He may never have seen a difference, and that means something uncomfortable. When Leibniz attacked Newton's theory of gravity, called it occult, said it was mysticism dressed in mathematics, an invisible force acting across empty space with no physical explanation, Newton didn't really argue. He said, "I don't know what gravity is, only what it does." He said that in public. In private, in the notebooks, he had an answer. He just never published it. Then 1693 happened. He sent letters to 2 of his closest friends, accusing them of conspiring against him. The letters made no sense. He hadn't slept in days. The most controlled, precise mind in the history of science had completely come apart. He recovered. He lived another 34 years. But he never touched the alchemy again. The furnace went cold. The notebooks went into a trunk. And Cambridge locked that trunk and didn't open it for 200 years. Keynes read everything in that trunk. Then he stood up and said something nobody has fully explained away since. Newton was not the first of the age of reason. He was the last of the magicians. Here's what I keep coming back to. Newton published everything he wasn't afraid of. The physics, the optics, even the heresy, the secret beliefs he kept hidden his whole life. He at least preserved them carefully, like he meant someone to find them eventually. The alchemy he left mid-experiment, like he walked away from the furnace and made a decision never to go back. We don't know what broke him in 1693. It might have been the mercury. It might have been something else entirely. A mind that had been pressing against something it couldn't hold for 6 years and finally gave way. What we know is this. He spent 6 years trying to extract the animating force of the universe. He poisoned himself doing it. And then, something stopped him. And he never said what.